All right, it's 3 o'clock on a Thursday. Welcome aboard the Postgame show. Alongside Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. That kind of scared me. What was that? Is that part of the
Faith
song?
No More, Jay Phillips.
Was that part of the song? Do I just not usually let the song run that long? Anyway.
No, typically, no. That's
Was it 90s?
What was that?
Is that the 90s?
Yeah, Faith No More, 90s.
90s? Okay.
You remember them? Remember that song, Epic?
Kinda.
They're not a jam band.
Well, that's okay. I'm not, as you know, I'm not exclusively jam band. I'm not really a pop rock kind of guy.
They were like a rock rap kind of alternative type of band.
I remember them a little bit, but not. I don't know. I think I know the song you're talking about. Anyway, lots to get to on today's program. We're guest heavy today. Coming up bottom of this hour, our buddy Michael Sauls on the Gamecock beat for the state newspaper going to join us in the 4 o'clock hour. A former Gamecock beat writer and our very good friend Joe Person, now covering the Carolina Panthers up in Charlotte, will be with us. We haven't taken a look at the Panthers in a while, so time to do that.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, it's a bad division, but somebody's going to win it and get a home game in the playoffs. So, why not the Panthers?
Do you buy into the Bucks? I don't, 100%. I don't.
I mean, I still feel like for now, they've earned the right to be considered the best team in a bad division. I do think that. And a lot of the metrics out there basically say the Saints will be the worst team in the division and maybe even the league. And so that leaves Carolina and Atlanta to kind of battle it out with Tampa and try to get that home playoff game. But again, one of those four teams guaranteed to have a home playoff game. Guaranteed. That's the way the system works.
Isn't, though, saying the Bucks are the best team in the South like saying they're the best-looking traveling Wilbury?
Hey, all five traveling Wilburys did all right, man. R.I.P. to a few of them now. But
they weren't lookers.
No. I don't know. I mean, I imagine there were some ladies out there who thought George Harrison was a good-looking guy.
The traveling Wilburys version of we're talking about the 1960s George Harrison.
I don't know.
Or the 70s George Harrison.
It's late 80s. Late 80s. And I imagine that people don't think Bob Dylan's good-looking or Roy.
No.
But you can't ever tell what Roy looked like, man. He's always in black and wearing sunglasses.
I love Roy's sunglasses. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Lynne.
I don't know what people. Jeff Lynne always had sunglasses and a beard.
And look, I'm a huge Tom Petty fan. I have like 5 billion Tom Petty records. I really like Tom Petty, but yeah, again, got that. He looks like one of us radio guys.
Perhaps. I imagine sometimes the ladies look the other way with that.
I don't think it mattered, though, to be quite honest.
They can all play the guitar.
Yes. Well, that was the old joke, right?
Yeah.
How much better looking do you get when you play the guitar?
They can all play the guitar. So that's something I could not do. But
no, thank you.
I tried. Anyway.
Did you try?
I have a guitar. I have a little Ibanez that I try to play. I'm just not very good at it.
You should come in and play some guitar one day for us.
I shall not do that. But I appreciate you asking. We do have a lot of big news to get to today, as our good friend David Cloninger first reported this morning, and yours truly has been able to further confirm. The University of South Carolina Board of Trustees tomorrow will vote on a new apparel deal with Nike. Under Armour has been South Carolina's partner for nearly 20 years, and through much of that, it was a good relationship, but maybe of late, as Under Armour's popularity has waned, there's certainly a belief amongst some that has, if not hurt South Carolina, it just doesn't really help South Carolina anymore. There was a time when Under Armour was kind of hot, and many of you might remember. I think a lot of people thought it was cool. Remember before games? I mean, Terry, long before you got to Columbia, but like right before kickoff at Williams-Brice on the Jumbotron, there'd be "We must protect this house," and that would kind of get people going, and that was part of their slogan back then across the country and around the world. But again, I think their popularity has waned. Nike has, for 40 years now, been the number one global sports apparel brand. And it's good to hit your wagon with them. I think that's the way you have to look at it. Now, again, none of this has been officially confirmed by the University of South Carolina, But as I say, David has reported it first. I know many others have now put it out there. WIS-TV has it on their website. I know the boys at Gamecock Central were discussing it too. So let's put it this way. If South Carolina weren't going to be joining up with Nike, then about 5 hours ago, a lot of people in this business would have been getting phone calls.
You think?
And nobody's gotten any phone calls.
Not one.
So I think, I get that Carolina, until it is fully approved, and now I'm being serious, until it is fully approved tomorrow morning, Carolina will not and should not, really cannot say anything. That being said, I think this is tremendous for the University of South Carolina Athletics Department and for all of its teams. And I think fans have been clamoring for this for years, quite honestly. I can recall times when we had Ray Tanner on the program, and one of the questions, when I would solicit questions from the audience, I will tell you that on multiple occasions, it was like, ask Ray about the apparel deal, and we did a few times. Again, it doesn't. Now, listen, Carolina won't start wearing Nike uniforms until next school year, so a year from now. The Under Armour deal runs through the end of the year. Some of you may also be wondering, and I think we'll get some details from Jeremiah Donati at some point in time. Hey, I thought Under Armour had the right to negotiate with Carolina through the end of the year. They do. They did, if you will. Now, this is solely me speculating now, okay, based on some conversations, but I'll be careful here because I'm not sure exactly how this goes down. But one of two things is likely here. A few months back, Carolina and Under Armour sat down at a table and began to talk about some things, put some numbers together on both sides, and said, this is just not where we are anymore. And Under Armour at that point may have said, that's cool, we get it, and we will, rescind our ability to negotiate with you through the end of the year, and now you're basically free to go do whatever you want. That's A. Or B, they had that same conversation. Under Armour said, all right, cool, listen, we'll hold on to our right of first refusal and our right to negotiate with you and match. Y'all go find what's out there and bring it back to us. And Carolina did that and brought it back to them. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that. So one of the two, am I missing an option C? I don't think I am, really.
I think I think B is the one. I think B makes a ton of sense. You have a right of first refusal. If you do, you might as well hear the offer that they're getting from the other entities, right? You might as well just hear it. And then you go, no, we're good, but thanks. It was a great time together. How about a hug, right? Because, again, Under Armour, I know they have a couple of deals out there. The Notre Dame deal, obviously, is their anchor deal.
It is. And Maryland, but Maryland's not Notre Dame. I get it, but Maryland is the
home school for Kevin Plank. Kevin Plank's an alum of Maryland.
Yeah, and on their board.
Right. But Under Armour has gone through some stuff in the last so many years. And to your point, they're not for a minute, right? They were the hot, cool brand for a minute with those shirts, right? And those shirts were great when nobody else was making them.
Right.
They were ahead of their time. Everybody caught up. The other stuff they've made has not connected to the world as much as they had hoped. And they expanded a ton. They went after it, Jay, to their credit. They really did. And it just hasn't gone the way they were hoping. And so I guess when South Carolina came back with the offer they got from Nike, Under Armour went, it's been great. Love you. Got a lot of great memories.
And Under Armour's not going anywhere, but Under Armour, I think, is morphing in a certain way. And listen, not to be mean or critical, some have been, and I understand it. Getting into the athletic shoe business when you are competing with two giant German brands that have been around for over 100 years in Adidas and Puma, and what Nike has become since their founding, but certainly since their partnership with Michael Jordan, which is now over 40 years ago, right around 40 years ago, and New Balance, which is, while it may lag, is still a really big brand, and Reebok, which lags behind the others, but is still a really big brand. You got to make a hell of a shoe.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
No, they didn't. I think I told you I'd gotten a Christmas gift. This is years ago now. The Under Armour like the trail shoe to go run trails. From the law. I mean, to run trails. And I'll be honest with you, man. I might have worn them 3 or 4 times. I tried. Not comfortable. Not real user friendly.
Right.
I just did
they
not
weren't.
like the
I mean,
shoe.
they weren't made well, and a lot of the things that we heard, and we said before too. I remember the story of Darren Horn's first team here. Carolina by then was beginning to transition fully into Under Armour, and the men's basketball team had to get a waiver, for lack of a better word, to continue to wear Nike for a bit because the shoes were literally blowing out.
Yeah,
and I know someone might say, well, didn't Zion Williamson's shoes blow out when Nike made his signature shoe? Yeah, I think that that was an unfortunate one-off with Zion.
Right.
He's a really large young man.
Yes, that's a big guy.
But when it's just happening routinely, they weren't made well. They weren't comfortable. Kids didn't like them. And that's just what some of the stories that I heard here. I don't know what it was like at Maryland or Notre Dame or Auburn or Texas Tech or some of the other schools, Utah, that had Under Armour through the years. The Under Armour garment itself, the fabric, continues to be very comfortable. I've got several Under Armour shirts. I'm sure a lot of you still do if you bought
Shirts
Carolina
are their wheelhouse. That shirt is their wheelhouse.
But now Nike has a product called Climacool, which is the exact same technology, the moisture wicking, and Adidas. I forget what Adidas, name of it is, but they've got it.
Yeah.
So it's just not quite the same.
No, and like anything, you're first, right? Then everybody's like, well, we got to make our brand or our own and get your technology, and you just, and all of a sudden everybody catches you.
Right.
Okay, what's next for you now?
Right.
And the other next that Under Armour has tried have been a mixed bag, and the shoes. I mean, the shoes just
it's a crowded market, and when Nike especially went to the Jumpman, kind of line of products, for lack of a better way to put it. That added an extra element of kind of cool for Nike, and it just made it that much. It's a crowded market.
Yeah, man.
It really is. But I think this is a big deal, and y'all chime in on this too on the text line 803-404-6100 Firehouse Subs text line. And what do you think? I was going to put out a poll question, but I already know the answer.
You know the answer, right?
So, and tomorrow, by the way, we'll effort some guests on this. If not tomorrow, then soon enough. But again, props to our good friend David Cloninger. He was the first to have this out officially this morning and officially confirmed this morning that South Carolina. So really, I think from what I'm told, Terry, by 9:45 or so tomorrow morning, this will have been made official, and away we go. So there you go. All right, we got a lot to get to. Again, Michael Saul's coming up in a bit with the latest on camp. We'll go test the waters with him on the Nike deal as well. Some big news brewing potentially in the Southeastern Conference, and we'll come back. I won't tell you the story now, but I don't want to say it was bizarre. But it kind of was this morning when I saw some news about what one former coach, said of a current coach. And these two men have made a name for themselves in college and to some degree in the NFL. And it is also the inspiration for today's Start Bench Drop. So stay tuned for that as the postgame show rolls on.
We talk about Kreger Showrooms, formerly The Nest, a lot here on this show because, well, they know what's up when it comes to improving your home, whether it's new appliances for your kitchen, whether it's, new things in the bathroom, fixtures, lighting. 70 years of experience at Kreger Showrooms, formerly The Nest. So no matter what direction you want to go, they have experts who can guide you. Budget, doesn't matter. They can hit high end. They can hit you if you're on certain type of tight budget constraint. They will walk you through. The showroom is unbelievable. I ask them all the time, I want to live here. They won't let me. Call them 803-978-2025, 803-978-2025. They're at Kreger Showrooms. No matter what your budget is, your vision, your goals, your dreams, they'll get it done for you. Kreger Showrooms, formerly The Nest, in the Vista on Gadsden, 803-978-2025.
Nineteen minutes after 3 o'clock here on a Thursday afternoon. Jay and Terry with you. Michael Sauls of the State Paper coming up, bottom of the hour. Our good friend Joe Person about an hour from now up in Charlotte covering the Panthers. Langston will be on the show tomorrow. And again, efforting, industry term, efforting other guests to discuss the University of South Carolina new apparel deal.
We've had this conversation. I never ever said to someone, hey, honey, I'm efforting my uncle.
No. But that's not, you're not talking industry at that
No,
point.
you're just talking real life.
Yeah.
Well, did we start a list on the old halftime show of words we only say on the radio but we don't say in real life? Didn't we start that for a bit, for like a day or two, and then
Well,
stop?
I mean, there's a few industry term words. I mean, effort is one.
Efforting.
Efforting or any form of that. I'll effort that. Get, like as a noun, like that's a good, when you grab a really good guess, that's a good get.
Mm-hmm. Never do that usually. Like
I'll do that sometimes. I don't know the context at home, but I'll be like, oh, that was a good get. Like if somebody gets something really good, like for dinner at the store or something, oh, that's a good get.
I'm trying to think of some of these other words that we use in our regular, like, riffing on the air that we never use in real life. I got to start keeping up with this again.
Well, I've told the story on here before. Do you want me to tell it again about the call that we got like 20 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Have I told you
That is a good story. Go ahead.
Okay, so like 20 years ago, Mike Morgan and Michael Haney and I were doing our old show called Primetime Sports. It was on our AM station here in our company. We did it 6 to 8 every night. And we had a PD back then named Al Connors. And Al had grown up in California, but he had made his way east, and he was our PD he was not just our sports AM PD, but he oversaw a couple of our music stations. Mm-hmm. But under his purview was our AM station. And, we use industry terms. And again, effort is a huge industry term.
Sure.
Television, newspaper, radio. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the biggest one.
It's one of them, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. It's certainly one of, yeah. Anyway, we get to the station one day like 5:30. And we were 6 to 8 back then, 6 to 8 p.m. We get to the station, and like 5:30, Al has this big smile on his face, and he's like, "You guys got to hear this." And we go into his office, and there's a voicemail, and it's from a listener, a lady. She's angry, and she says, I forget the whole thing, but it boils down to, "And will you tell that Jay Phillips that effort is not a verb?" And she was hot. And we just sat there laughing. So Al carved it up for us, put it into our system, and for like a week, maybe 2, I don't know, we had it so we could just, like, if we said the word, like, because Haney ran our board back then, and Haney would just like, "Would you tell that?" And it was that. Like, I was like,
that Jay Phillips.
Like, "You tell that Satan that I am not," like, I was like, whoa, hold on here, man. It was great.
That's hilarious.
We had fun.
Oh, you have to with that.
With that one. But anyway, all right. So I did not have Terry effort the actual audio of this industry term. But yesterday, Coach Urban Meyer was on a podcast called, let's see, what was the name of the podcast? The Triple Option Podcast. And he said on this the following, quote, "There's an elephant in the room here no one's talking about. When Jim Tressel was fired by Ohio State, he was given a suspension. Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL, came out and said that we're going to honor that suspension. Tressel went to the Colts to work in the replay room. The Colts, because of the respect they had for the NCAA and the suspension, suspended Jim Tressel, so he was unable to perform his duties for the first 6 games of the year." And he is likening this, is Urban Meyer, to Jim Harbaugh now, of course, being a National Football League employee. And would the commissioner of the NFL urge the Chargers to suspend Jim Harbaugh? Now, Jim Harbaugh has been suspended already.
Right.
So all Jim Harbaugh has hanging over him at this point in time is a show cause. I don't think the Spanos family is going to be going in front of some committee of other owners and telling them why they think Jim Harbaugh has been rehabilitated.
Right.
Nor do I think the other NFL owners give two you-know-whats about that.
I don't think this phone call is going to Roger Goodell. We're going to put a show cause on Harbs.
But people took that and ran with it and said Urban Meyer calls for Jim Harbaugh to be suspended, which I will say, in Urban's defense, no, he didn't.
No.
So today, Urban was on Cowherd's show, and said, did I say Jim should be suspended by the NFL? Of course not. I didn't say that. It was made clear that the NFL wanted to respect the decisions made by the NCAA. But to answer the question, I've never said that. So he doesn't really want him suspended. What he's saying is the NFL itself set some form of precedent with Jim Tressel.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that? 20 years ago?
20, yeah, it's got to be, let's see, yeah.
I mean, I know the Tattoo Gate was...
Tattoo Gate, right.
You know, I mean, I forget exactly how long. Maybe not 20 yet, but regardless.
It's not far off.
So, feel how you want to feel about that. I don't think Urban... Again, I don't think Urban cares what they do with Jim Harbaugh. And Jim Harbaugh's not going to be suspended because Jim Harbaugh doesn't have a suspension hanging over him from the NCAA.
And plus, what has Jim Harbaugh done in the NFL to get himself a suspension?
Well, nothing, and neither did Jim Tressel. But again, there was just, respect, air quote.
Well, let me throw this out there, not to be mean. Jim Harbaugh was in the NFL before, did pretty good last time I checked.
He did.
Got to a Super Bowl.
Three straight NFC title games and one Super Bowl.
How many games did Jim Tressel coach in the NFL before Tatgate?
He did not.
So if you're the NFL, what do you really have to lose?
Yeah, nothing. And they shouldn't. Again, he raises an interesting point.
It's an interesting point, but looking at it, the NFL, Jim Harbaugh was a high-level NFL head coach. So you don't want to penalize a guy who's a high-level NFL head coach in the past who's now coming back to coach, right? The guy that most likely won't coach in the NFL, who has really not a whole lot of interest in coaching in the NFL, you can slap that on that guy, right?
Right. Well, look, Sharon Moore has a 3-game suspension. If, for the sake of the discussion, Jim Harbaugh had just been given last week a 3-game suspension. Is there a different story? Perhaps. I doubt it. But perhaps. But what Jim Harbaugh has is basically 14 years of show cause. And again, it doesn't matter because Jim Harbaugh ain't going back to college.
He never coming back. You got a better chance of getting a head coaching gig than Jim Harbaugh in college.
I know.
And look.
And I'm going to apply because they make a lot of money.
You know, they don't work much.
Oh, they work.
They only work.
They work, man.
They only work like 24/7, 365.
Gee whiz.
Here's the thing. This just shows you the world's not fair. Because if you want to take this in a vacuum of, well, if Jim Tressel got this and Jim Harbaugh because of this and that, I'll go back to the point. Jim Harbaugh is a hell of a head coach.
Oh, absolutely.
And was an excellent NFL head coach.
Yeah, and he's going to be again.
And Jim Tressel is Jim Tressel, not to be mean.
Well, he became an analyst in the NFL for a bit. He became a school president. He was president of Youngstown State. Good for him.
And you know what? Being a collegiate guy is great, but the NFL looks at Jim Tressel as, okay, you're a nice little college fellow. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. We got nothing to lose by...
He wears his sweater vest.
Exactly.
Got his glasses.
Nice glasses.
Yeah.
So the NFL goes, we got nothing to lose by puffing our chest out on Jim Tressel.
Nothing. I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
So that takes us to today's start, bench, drop. And these three guys have some things in common with each other. And so this is what prompted me today to do this. So start, bench, drop these coaches who were successful, very successful in college. One of them has also been very successful in the NFL, but they've all been very successful in college, and they've all at least coached in the NFL. Alphabetical order, start, bench, drop. Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer. All right, so start, bench, drop.
It's a good one, man.
Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer.
I got to give this one some thought.
I don't know where I'm going yet.
I don't either. It's good.
I can look at resumes, and I think I know where I'm going, but it might depend on what I value.
I was going to say, what is your highway on this?
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. It's a good one. You have to let your brain simmer on this one a little bit.
Again, you can. There's an easy first answer, but then maybe not so much.
I'm with you.
Come back on the other side. Our buddy Michael Sauls on the beat for the State Paper will join us. Latest around camp. What are we hearing about Rasul Faison? Nothing. And what Michael thinks of the imminent Nike deal for Carolina. We'll do that and more when the postgame show returns. 26 minutes in front of 4 o'clock on this Thursday. Welcome back in. It's the Postgame Show. Jay and Terry with you. Michael Sauls in just a second. Joe Person next hour talking Panthers. And again, some developing news around the SEC that we'll touch on in a bit. There's a lot of developing news around the Gamecocks. Glad Michael is on with us here this afternoon. Anything more we should know about tomorrow's pending Board of Trustees announcement where Carolina is expected to approve a deal with Nike?
Well, I think you just said everything I know. As far as I'm aware, and as far as what my wonderful colleague Jordan Kay has reported today, is that South Carolina's expected to have some sort of deal with Nike to finalize tomorrow after the Board of Trustees meeting. That'll be an almost 20-year partnership with Under Armour, meaning that'll come to a close, I believe, at the end of the contract in 2026 is when that comes up. So that'll all be finalized tomorrow, or is expected to be finalized tomorrow, and we'll all find out together what that means.
Yeah, regardless, and again, everything points to Nike. Just to let everybody know one more time, as Michael just alluded to, the coming school year that's now started sees Under Armour through all 3 seasons, fall, winter, spring sports. So there's no Nike until this time next year. But we'll touch more on that tomorrow. Let's focus in on the now. Shane and his coordinators speaking this week. Not a whole lot from what they did in the scrimmage. I don't know how you took that. I know some fans thought others thought maybe, no news is bad news as opposed to no news is good news. What's maybe a body language feeling after scrimmage number 2?
I feel like part of the not a whole lot of discussion about it is simply because the media availability is multiple days after the second scrimmage. So, you kind of feel like you're asking about old news at that point. But, I did ask, and just strictly based off of body language, everything seems to be fine. It's one of those things where, you can only get so much from a scrimmage, and, you got real games coming up. And I think that was kind of the point that, Mike SHULA made was, I think somebody kind of asked, what are some of the differences between this year's offense and last year's offense in terms of how it looks on the field? And he's like, well, we don't really know because we haven't played a real game. We're all going to he essentially kind of made it seem like we're all going to find out together. But I don't think that was said in oh no, everybody hit the panic button, everybody started freaking out. I think it was more of a, we're being kind of close to keeping our cards close to our chest, get through camp, and we'll all find out together.
All right, so as we hear Shane, and by the way, I will give Shane credit. He has a very entertaining job of telling us really nothing.
Don't most coaches?
Yeah, Shane, it's he got to talk about himself as a long snapper. It was fun the other day. Michael, as we look at this, we see this big competition at wide receiver, right? We got these freshmen who are popping. We got guys coming back. Nick Harbor looks like he's starting to ramp up in learning how to play the position of wide receiver. Out of all these guys, if I said and we'll move Harbor to the side because he seems to be the one we all focus on. Besides Harbor, with the guys coming back, who are you most interested in to see if they can take the next step?
I think probably Mazio. I think, he showed flashes, last year, and I think he's kind of the bridge, I guess, is maybe the word I'm looking for, between, Nick Harbor and those younger guys. And, speaking of the younger guys, Mike SHULA said yesterday, we kind of came into this not necessarily knowing how much of them were going to play. And now, he's making it seem like, maybe some more of these freshmen, these younger wide receivers, more than we maybe initially anticipated, are going to play, once the season comes. But to answer your question, I'm most intrigued by Mazio Bennett and to see if he gets a sophomore slump or if he takes another step.
Talking to Michael Sauls of the State Paper, Gamecocks getting closer to kickoff with Virginia Tech. Carolina remains an 8-point favorite in that ball game in Atlanta next weekend. I don't want to dwell too much on the backup quarterback situation, but I think we have to, if only because last year we had evidence of the fact that the way Lenoris plays could at times get him dinged up a little bit. And last year Robbie Ashford had to come in. This year it's Luke Doty for now, but I wonder, and I don't mean this in any kind of defamatory or derogatory way, Michael, but is that more a reflection on who Luke Doty is or what Air Nolan and Coder Woods aren't?
I do think it's probably a reflection on who Doty is. I mean, he's been here forever. He knows. I would imagine he has to know the offense like the back of his hand by now. He good dude, good locker room guy, and we've seen, he can play quarterback. He came here as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He is skilled at that position. I do think it is more of a reflection of Doty in general. I know Shula said a little bit yesterday, and Beamer said a little bit earlier this week that they're just kind of working through stuff with Aaron Nolan and Cutter Woods, kind of bringing them along and continuing to have them compete. And it's one of those things where I think we're all so used to, so-and-so's been named the starter, so-and-so's been named the starter, and it's kind of hilarious that we're sitting here going, all right, well, who's going to be QB3? Who's going to be QB2? Like, this program's been in a spot where the QB1 hype and not knowing necessarily who it was going to be has been rare, and now they have the QB1, and it's, all right, well, what are we doing now? We got to find out QB2 and QB3, I guess.
All right, Michael, so and all these newcomers, and we've got all, whether guys stepping up to take over roles, guys transferring in to take over roles, freshmen coming in. Give me a guy that you're hearing good stuff about that we're not talking about enough.
I'll give you one on offense and one on defense. The one on defense, people have talked about a little bit. Brandon Cisse, obviously, the defensive back coming in from North Carolina State or NC State. They talked, apparently his new nickname is Glitch. Gerald Kilgore shared that this week. They have just lauded him this week in the press conferences. Clayton White said that he kind of reminded, Cisse reminds him of Cam Smith as a guy who's kind of, super fast, but also versatile in the sense that he can play DB, he can play nickel. That kind of allows them to move Kilgore around, later in games and put Cisse where they need him. And then on offense, a lot of the talk with the whole Faison situation is, hey, if Faison can't go, well, what are you doing at running back? How are you preparing for that? And I think somebody that a lot of people haven't talked about is Isaiah Augustus, the Colorado transfer. He got here late, so it kind of makes sense that there hasn't been a lot of buzz. Beamer brought him up on Tuesday, said he's a really fast guy, and he's a hard hitter. Apparently in the scrimmage, he had like a 60, 70-yard run. So a bigger dude, but still has kind of the speed to go with the power. So I'll be interested to see, if the Faison stuff doesn't necessarily pan out the way that South Carolina wants it, what kind of role Isaiah Augustus has.
All right. On that note, then, last thing for you. You just you didn't steal my thunder, but you shifted it. I guess we have a press conference on Tuesday, right? The first official one of a game week. By that press conference, does Michael Sauls believe there will have been a decision made on Rasul Faison?
I simply just cannot answer that question. Simply because I genuinely have no clue.
All right.
And part of me thinks like 90% of the people there probably don't have any clue either, and that's just purely speculation. Like the fact that this has been drawing on forever, I'm fully expecting to not get any kind of update, and maybe we'll just all find out when they take the field in Atlanta.
I believe, hang on, let me see. Do my math here. I think it's day 226 of the Rasul Faison watch. So there you go.
Jeez.
226. And I asked that only because if you were to have asked me, I would have said the exact same thing. So I just wanted to see if we're like, simpatico on that. I think that's how most are. Again, I get this tinge of optimism when I ask over, in the building. And I imagine you do too, Michael. But again, it's almost the shoulder shruggy guy.
Really, he was hoping you were going to break the news that you knew.
Well,
exactly.
That would have been today's. I'd have moved Nike to the side for Rasul Faison. Michael, appreciate you as always,
thanks,
bud.
Man.
Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, pal.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
That's Michael Sauls on the beat for the State Paper. Check him out there, and MC Sauls to follow along on Twitter. Or if you like to call it something else, you can call it something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with Twitter.
All right, a lot of you already hitting us up for today's Start Bench Drop. If you missed the category, today's Start Bench Drop is coaches that have some national titles under their belt and all coached in the NFL to varying degrees. Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, after Urban made a little news about Jim, sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah, in the last 24 hours. So Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, Start Bench Drop. Give you some of those, and Terry opens the vault on the other side. All right, welcome back in. Postgame show rolling on here on a Thursday. Jay and Terry with you. Thanks to Michael Sauls for joining us. Coming up in about 25 minutes or so, our buddy Joe Person. It's been a while now. He's been covering the Panthers for like 15 years. But before that, he covered the Gamecocks for many, many seasons. And tonight, the Panthers have their final preseason game. Joe reported this morning, most, if not all, of the Panther starters will likely, they may not be in street clothes tonight, but I don't think they're going to play.
Wouldn't you put them in street clothes, maybe pajamas? Have them just come out in their favorite pajamas and sit on the sidelines?
Well, NFL teams they don't have pajamas. They have all those, like, cool warm-up gear. They can just come out in that.
Come out.
But the Steelers are in town tonight, man, and you know what I kind of think?
Steeler home game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even in August.
Oh, absolutely. Did you, by the way, speaking of that, did you see last night at the Tampa Yankee game in Tampa?
I didn't see any highlights today.
The kid, the rookie, whose name almost sounds like a cuss word. They always say, be careful when you say his name.
Yeah.
He came out of the game to a standing ovation in Tampa because there's so many Yankee fans in Tampa.
Yeah. Well, Tampa, to be fair,
spring training site for the Yankees
and it has been, and the Steinbrenners, that's their home.
Base.
That's their home. People don't realize that, but the Steinbrenner family Tampa's their home.
And I get all that, but still, it's an awful
and
look.
Legends Field, which is a very cool park right there by Raymond James, and that's of course where the Rays are playing now.
They have to because they have no roof.
Well, it's just but yeah, Tampa is a Yankees town.
And if you don't know and you see that highlight, you go, man.
Yeah.
But once you understand, there's probably more Yankee fans in Tampa than Rays fans.
Yeah. I think that's probably true, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, the Steinbrenners, Tampa's home.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I think George was born in Cleveland, but I think he moved the family's shipping business off the rivers and into the oceans.
Cleveland, Tampa, where you want to be in
it's
January.
not about living so much, but I mean,
it's better for the business.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think big boats on the Great Lakes do well, but if you can take the same big boats and put them in the ocean and go places, they make even more money.
Plus, that lake caught on fire. You know what I'm saying, Jay? That lake caught on fire, man. Sorry, start bench drop. I hijacked you, sir.
Start bench drop today is Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer. I've got a few clever responses already. Let's see. Robert says, start Pete, bench Jim, drop Urban so he can, quote, spend more time with his family or, quote, focus on his health, etc., until he decides he actually wants to coach again.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
That's
really good. I like that.
Jason says, start Jim, bench Pete, drop Urban. Steven says, start Pete, bench Jim, drop Urban. Our buddy Mike Yuva weighs in. Start Pete, bench Jim, drop Urban. I'll get to a few more. Got one more here right now. Ray, start Pete, bench Urban, drop Jim. That's a lot of dropped Urban Meyer, man.
That doesn't see. I'll say this really quick. I believe if you charted all those today, the winner would be drop Urban Meyer.
Yeah, and again, it depends, I suppose, on how you want to value what these men have done, or maybe even who they are.
I think because his NFL, do you even call it a career?
No.
His NFL tenure
experience
was so bad,
right,
and laughably bad,
right,
that I think that pushes him in a lot of people's minds behind Pete Carroll, who won a title in the NFL and in college, and Jim Harbaugh was in a Super Bowl and won a national title. Yeah. I'm just saying what I think is why.
I get it, man. I get why. Urban has 3 college titles.
But I'll say this, Urban won natties in 2 different places.
Yeah, that's not easy to do.
I mean, hell of a college coach.
All right, let's open the vault today. What do you got?
All right, on this day, let me get the exact day because neither one of us were alive. I think it was David Dare's senior year of high school. 1931, Babe Ruth hit his 600th home run on this day. Now, again, I can't find Babe Ruth highlights, Jay, but it's always entertaining to hear the trailer from the great movie Babe Ruth starring John Goodman. Ah,
Out of nowhere.
out of nowhere. I love the voiceover. And by
Well,
the
it's
way,
the same guy, right? In
Yeah.
a world.
absolutely. And by the way, it might have been the worst.
It's not good. Yeah,
It was
it's
the
not.
worst.
It's not. And I love
John
Goodman, but it wasn't a great movie.
And when he's swinging a bat, it was
It's
that was
yeah.
painful. The
Yeah.
whole thing was.
That's why I've always said people love The Natural, but I'm like, man, Redford, like when Costner or some of those dudes, like
Vito Costner
he's
played
an
ball.
athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Redford,
Great actor.
not so much. Not so much.
So Babe Ruth, 600 career
That's
home run
cool,
on this
man.
day, sir.
Man, the babe. All right, hour 2, some brewing SEC news to get to. Since 1976, Griffin Pools and Spas has been family owned and operated. The great Stanley Griffin founded the company way back then. He's no longer with us, but the Griffin Pools and Spas folks continue to be the best at what they do all across the Midlands of South Carolina. Now, listen, is it a brand new pool that you want? Hey, they can get it done for you. Custom pool design, aggressive commitment to the scheduling, the top quality construction that you come to expect. They don't want to disrupt your life, but again, they're digging a hole in your backyard, a really big one. So, it'll be a little bit, but they'll minimize those things for you, and they'll be with you every single step of the way. Already have a pool, they can help you with equipment upgrades, final liner replacement, and so much more. And Labor Day sale right now, you could save up to $2,500 on a brand new Bullfrog Spa. Get into Griffin, just steps away from the Lake Murray Dam. See them for yourself. Call them up, 957-2121, and always online at griffinpoolsandspas.com. All right, 4 o'clock on this Thursday. Welcome back in. It's the post-game show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you from the Herndon Chevy Studios in downtown Columbia, South Carolina. Our buddy Joe Person on the Panthers beat for The Athletic will be joining us coming up in about 15, 20 minutes. Panthers have their final preseason game tonight up in Charlotte. Some of you may be going. Some of you may be on the way.
Mm-hmm. You know, we joke about the Panthers because it's so easy. Honestly, though, in that division, all you got to do is get a little bit better and you're competitive. At this point.
Well, I mean, I wasn't kidding. I mean, I know it sounds, I mean, I guess we're not kidding. We're maybe being a little facetious with it, but someone in that division is going to get a home game in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're not going to be a very good team. Whoever wins the division, I'll be surprised, dead serious, if the winner of the NFC South is... Like, I'll set the over-under at the champion 9.5 wins.
Yeah, I think that.
And I think it'll be under.
I was sitting here thinking 9-8 is going to win that division.
I think
8-9.
It could. I'll be really surprised pleasantly if someone wins that division at 10-7 or better.
Yeah,
And if they do, good for them.
Yeah, the Saints could be the worst team in football this year before it's all said and done. Or maybe they're trying to be the worst team in football.
Well, I think it was either Albert Breer. I can't remember now. Somebody on Dan Patrick a couple of weeks ago was asked that question: who's the worst team in the NFL? I think it was Albert.
I mean,
and I apologize if I'm wrong about that, but the Saints. That's what.
Yeah, they're a disaster. The Falcons just can't get out of their own way.
The Falcons just, I don't know, man. The Falcons have hit some kind of weird, like, not mental block. But there's just something about the Falcons that doesn't seem to allow them to get better. I'm not sure what it is. You know, I don't know.
It's weird because here's a team that has gone to the Super Bowl recently in the last, 10, 12 years.
And some people have suggested that Super Bowl experience was like
sucked the life out
so
of them.
bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, man, I mean, nobody on the team was on the team.
But all those players are gone.
Right.
Again, that goes back to that whole curse thing or whatever. Curses, typically teams that lose have curses.
Well, I don't.
Not many winners have curses, Jay.
I feel about curses the way I feel about ghosts.
Yeah,
they don't exist.
Not a curse guy. Never have been, never will be. I think curses are ridiculous. But for Atlanta, look, you might have said that for the couple years after that Super Bowl when you still had the same guys on the roster and whatever. But, man, come on, now in 2025, nobody's left. Matt Ryan's doing TV. I mean, I think that organization... The weird thing is they make some good decisions, and then they make some awful decisions.
They seem to have a worse hit rate.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's bad decisions or bad luck.
I don't know. I'm just like, I watch it.
And should I say bad luck is a curse?
I guess, look, Arthur Blank seems to be a nice man. Everyone that says he's a nice man.
I think he's But
can you be a nice man and not a very good owner? Sure.
Yeah.
And I think that...
I bet Mike Brown's a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, he makes you pay for dinner, but he's probably nice.
Sure.
He gets up and leaves, and you're stuck with the check.
Yeah, well, you go Dutch at the Golden Corral with Mike Brown.
Right. Well, I told you my story. That guy I rented that place from in Houston, guy who had his own business, had a ton of money, lived in a gated community, and he's, I'm going to take you out for dinner, your last dinner here in Houston for you to go back home. We're going to go to the original Carrabba's, boy. Not them fake ones around the country, the original Carrabba's. So we get there. He goes, dinner's on me because you know what? I like you, Timmy. So we sit down. He goes, by the way, you can get anything you want on the left side of the menu. It was like the specials menu, the special side. Right. So I can get anything I want at $14.99 or below.
Or below. Wow.
So that reminds me of Mike Brown. Mike Brown takes me out.
That's how he lives in a gated community, I guess. But that's good. That's good.
But anyway, my point, the Falcons, like for an example, you go out and you go for it with Kirk Cousins, and you spend all that money to bring in a veteran quarterback who has played to a certain level, and his teams have had a certain amount of success. Now, is he looked at as one of the best? No. But a lot better than you had, right? Because what you had was a disaster.
Yeah.
So then what do? You take a top 10 pick and draft a quarterback. And you're like, a quarterback, by the way, not many people would have taken in the top 10 in Michael Penix. They would have taken later in the first round.
Yeah. I don't disagree with where you're taking this. I've just not been, like, convinced that was a bad decision. Because, again, what did I talk about yesterday? Mm-hmm. Quarterback development. They didn't want Michael Penix to play right away. And the fact that Kirk Cousins somehow was, like, offended by a top 10 pick coming in. They're just like, and remember when Aaron Rodgers did that with Jordan Love? Like, I'm not here to be his mentor. It's like, no, you're not. But he's not going to play, bro. You're good.
Right.
You're good.
Don't get all butthurt. I think with Cousins, what they did wrong to me, look, when you're going to take Penix, I do think that you make that phone call to Cousins and say, look, man, I'm going to be honest with you. We're taking a quarterback, and here's why. Now, you can agree with it, not agree with it, but this is why we're doing it. But you know what? You're our guy this year. I just think with Penix, first of all, not many people were valuing him that high in the draft, right?
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, that's a high-value pick on a roster that needs a lot of other help besides a young quarterback to sit behind Kirk Cousins, who, by the way, there are people that aren't sold on Michael Penix and thought he was built by the system that DeBoer and Grubb ran in UW.
Could be.
So if it's one thing, if it's a guy like if Patrick Mahomes is sitting there in the top 10 like he was years ago, you can walk away going, okay, you drafted Cousins, but there are people think this guy could be the stuff, but there are also people that thought he wasn't going to be any good. But physically, the talent of Patrick Mahomes was off the charts, and he did have numbers at Texas Tech, and he did play 2 seasons. So that's one thing. Yeah. But when you take a guy like Penix in the top 10, after you've given Cousins all that money, and Penix gets such a mixed bag as a prospect to begin with, once again, you're really swinging for the fences.
Well, I don't disagree, but that's why I think they wanted it to. I think they wanted him to sit for a couple of years, and that's why I don't have as much of a problem.
But then I'll circle back. If Cousins was so injured and he still wasn't ready to play after that Achilles, didn't anybody run any medical reports? Anybody work him out? Did you work him out?
And again, is that a Falcons thing?
Our dude could not drop back last year, Jay, and push off that foot. But anyway, I just think the Falcons make decisions that make them the Falcons.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but we'll talk more Panthers again. Panthers-Steelers tonight at 7, I think 7:30 perhaps, but around that time, up in Charlotte. And I imagine tickets are available if you want to go see the Panthers or the Steelers. I don't. No, I don't.
You thought about that a long time, man. No, you gave it a lot of thought.
If it was a regular season game, I probably still wouldn't. But
you know what? Me either.
Yeah, but I don't want to go sit up there in August. I really not. No, I'm good. The Southeastern Conference, according to our good friend Seth Emerson. Speaking of former Gamecock beat writers who now work for the Athletic, Seth says today that, according to discussions after an athletics directors meeting in Birmingham, that the Southeastern Conference is closer, whatever that means, to adopting a 9-game conference schedule. He says, and I'll read verbatim from today's report, while the conference's presidents will still need to give final approval, it's the closest the conference has been to moving forward with a 9-game schedule. The 9-game schedule would go into effect for 2026, according to the source. This is good news, and we'll get into this after we talk with Joe, because also today, I guess yesterday actually, the college football playoff announced that the selection committee will now be using what they call advanced metrics, or at least more advanced metrics, in an effort to better select the 12 schools that will be part of the playoff this fall. I don't want to get into the details of that right now because I don't have time to, but these things are not coincidental.
No.
Because one of the things that we discussed with Greg Sankey in Atlanta, and he talked, we got to sit down with him, but it wasn't unique to us, obviously, was my words here, I think his need to know that if the Southeastern Conference goes to a 9-game schedule, there won't be big penalties for the loser of that extra game, because he also is equally determined to have this conference play more good non-con games. South Carolina is already in on that, as we've talked about. Starting this year and for the next 7, Clemson is, when I say doesn't count, Clemson's always going to be there. Starting this year, and for 7 seasons, South Carolina has an additional game against an ACC school. Again, this year, Virginia Tech, then 2 with Miami, then 2 with State, then 2 with Chapel Hill. That's your next 7 years for Carolina. Again, Clemson is there. Now you add a 9th conference game. I sincerely hope, from my own point of view, for South Carolina specifically, that they keep those openers against those schools I just mentioned. I think they will, if these advanced metrics this year begin to show us that you won't be penalized as strongly. I mean, there's got to be some penalty for losing. I don't discount that. You can't just say it doesn't count.
Right.
Because it counts.
Sure.
But, and they've also said, by the way, and again, I want to be careful not to do too many things right now because I want to talk about this more in a longer segment. You're not going to, basically, it's going to be like the RPI. And the net ranking,
which they should have.
Yeah, and then I know we've both been talking about this, and you were talking about it with Tyler before we came back on the air together, and Elijah and I were talking about this. Again, some kind of quad system. Basically, Indiana's about to get popped for trying to be clever.
Yep.
And that's why I was saying, like, man, y'all better just hold off for a second. And again, remember they bailed on Virginia.
I know that powerhouse in Charlottesville.
They bailed on Virginia.
Yeah, man.
And that might have helped you.
Yes.
It helps you more than playing,
right.
Indiana State.
It's just, look, this needs to happen because last year, look, we can sit here all day and say, well, if Alabama didn't do this and if South Carolina didn't do this and if Ole Miss didn't, and I don't disagree with you. You got to handle your business. I get it. But when we're looking at resumes between 2 lost teams and 3 lost teams, you're just going to blindly say, well, they lost more and less game than the other. Well, that's not fair if one team is playing, a bunch of cupcakes and orphanages and trucking schools.
And, Kurt Signetti just looked at us all the other day and scoffed.
Sure.
And went like,
because you know what?
Why would I do that?
When we did
y'all are the dumb
year,
ones, not us. And I'm like, I don't. And I think enough has happened to force the hand of the committee.
But I think
even if Indiana's a Big Ten school.
Yeah, you make a good point about this thing, the hand-to-hand, the 9-game schedule, and these metrics. Because, again, if I'm Shane Beamer, and I'm taking this out, and you and I agree, being fans, we want to see good games. I agree. But if I'm Shane Beamer, and my job is to win as many games as I can and put myself in a position to make the college football playoff, why do I want to go to 9 games, have Clemson, have NC State, have North Carolina, have Miami, and not get any love for my strength of schedule?
Yeah, if I'm going to get dinged real hard for it, like in the same way that Indiana might get, if Indiana were to lose to Indiana State, then that's going to be a thing. But I just don't like these. The TV partners want good schedules. The fans want good schedules. The schools don't want big pockets of emptiness in their ballpark when you play a cupcake. So we'll see. But again, SEC, according to Seth, closer to 9 games. Maybe now it's basically headed toward a presidential vote. ADs seem to leave the meeting with an agreement. So now you got to send it to the men and women that actually get to decide these things.
The money will be there.
That's right. Oh, the money
will be there.
I think so, yeah. And we'll have some more details. By the way, it would be a 3+6, if you're wondering. 3 permanents, 6 rotating. All right, we'll come back on the other side. We'll come back to this in just a little bit, but we'll shift gears up to Charlotte. Our good friend Joe Person, final preseason game tonight for the Panthers. They hadn't looked good so far. What does he expect tonight, and what's the outlook for the first few weeks of the season? We'll talk to Joe next. Whether it's the boardroom, the weight room, the bedroom, any room, whatever you might be doing, guys, as you get a little bit older and you feel off, you start to wonder why, and you say, I don't know if I should do anything about this. Maybe I'll just give it some time. Yeah. Drink a little bit more water. See what happens. Now, listen, Don't wonder why. Don't wait for it to go away. Find out what's going on. You're not alone. Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the Men's Clinic are ready to help you out. You'll get a one-on-one consultation that gets to the root of the issues. They get to know you. What do you do every day? What's not working for you? What is working for you? And then put together a specific treatment just for you. No one size fits all. No magic pills. And listen, some of this can be embarrassing. They understand that too. That's why they're very confidential. They're experts in healthcare for men. They're dedicated to getting you back to feeling like you want to. 803-875-MENS. Call the Men's Clinic today. Nineteen minutes after 4 o'clock here on a Thursday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Our buddy Joe Person on the guest line. Don't know if he's stuck in traffic heading to the stadium yet or not, or maybe he's already there just hanging out.
It's got the sound he's stuck in traffic.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want him to be stuck in traffic, but he's been in Charlotte a long time now. Always great to speak with you, sir. Good to have you back. How are you?
I am making my way to the stadium. I've got, I know all the, the little service street back roads, but hey, before we talk Panthers, brother, I gotta shout out to that Irmo Little League. I'm a Williamsport, Pennsylvania native back in the.
What a game last night, man.
That was crazy.
I mean, what a game last night. They get to do it again tonight, and a win moves them into the U.S. championship game at least. But, yeah, big shout-out. That was that was as dramatic as it can get last night. I felt bad for the losing team, too, but that's because they're 12, Joe.
Well,
it makes it hard.
You're up 7-1 in
I know,
extras. You think
win.
You got the game won,
I know.
and then you lose a 6-run lead.
Yeah, that's rough.
No, listen, you guys would know the history. When was the last South Carolina team to make it this far? It seems like they're on a run, man.
I don't know that there has been.
It might have been before. Maybe you're a little Jay Phillips.
Yeah, I don't know. Jay Phillips'
man.
Little League teams didn't get that far, so I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll have to double check that with somebody. Let's look at tonight. Your report, looking ahead to tonight's game, you basically say what I guess most teams do these days. The starters aren't going to play, or maybe a couple play a little bit. I'm just curious from your own perspective, not to sit here, Dave Canales knows more about football than we do, but is this not a ball club that could benefit from maybe the starters having more reps together? Is this more of a health issue, or just, we're good?
Yeah, it's funny. Last year, you guys will remember, maybe Bryce Young only played one preseason series, and it was in this third one, and so he didn't play the first two. And he played one. They scored a touchdown against Buffalo's Scrubs, and then that was it. And then why that's important is he proceeded to go into the regular season looking very much unprepared for regular season games and for the war of attrition that is, Sundays in the NFL. So I thought he was going to play him a little more this year, and he did a little. He played two series in each of these first two games. He had one touchdown drive and three and outs. I would have played him. I don't know if I would have played him tonight, but I would have sent him, Bryce Young, and the first-team offense back out for another series in Houston and see if you couldn't end that game on kind of a positive note to roll into the preseason, or the regular season. But that's not how he did it, and I don't know that I agree with his reasoning, but here we are.
Hey, Joe, a couple interesting things you had in one of your recent posts. First of all, about it got chippy here recently at the end of a practice, and you got the offense, the defense, jawing and going at it, and even Dave Canales says we like to play to the edge. Maybe we went over the edge, but there was also some thought, well, maybe this team needs to get a little rowdy and, start to get more intense and not get, with the reputation of being, the in the basement and get pushed around and things of that nature. Maybe they need to start, kind of like getting a little edge to them, so to speak. What do you think of that thought?
So when Dan Morgan was hired in January of 24, of course, he's the former Panther linebacker, and he kind of was Luke Kuechly before Luke Kuechly, like maybe not the fastest guy in the field, but he was all about grit. And Dan Morgan, at his introductory press conference up here, said the Panthers needed more dogs. And because, to your point, they had been getting pushed around. Well, they continued to get, defensively at least, pushed around last season. And some of that were early season injuries to Shaq Thompson and Derek Brown. Derek Brown's back, of course. Shaq has moved on to Buffalo. But the point I was making in the article is just that they do need a little swagger on defense. I mean, this team gave up 3,000 rushing yards on the ground. Well, obviously, 3,000 rushing yards last year. They're only like the fourth team in history to do that. They gave up more points than anyone had given up. Now, granted, 17 games. So, but even then, they were among the highest scored upon teams in NFL history. So, showing a little backbone and some nastiness in practice, I was okay with it. As long as you don't have guys like breaking their hands on the side of helmets. And it was their last preseason practice. They were full pads. It was guys, by the way, who aren't playing tonight. And so I think Canales let the session run a little long. He added some extra plays, and I thought it was a good way for the first teamers to end camp.
Talking to our buddy Joe Person, Panthers and Steelers tonight in Charlotte, final preseason game. The Panthers will open with Jacksonville here in a couple of weeks. Tell us more. You were here covering the Gamecocks when Sidney Rice and Alshon Jeffrey were here before you moved on to cover the Panthers. And I look at Tet McMillan, and I see that, but maybe even better. And I don't have to tell you how good Sidney and Alshon were. What kind of kid is this, and what should we expect in a rookie season?
Well, he is sort of built like Sidney Rice. He's real long and lean and, fast enough, but terrific hands. And just like Sidney Rice and Alshon too, but certainly, but in terms of like body type, I see more Sidney. And he's got this great catch radius, and that's how I remember, not to keep harping on Sidney Rice, but I remember him always catching balls at their highest point, high pointing these balls, coming down with pretty much anything that was in the vicinity. And that should be at least what the Panthers hope they're getting with Teteroa McMillan. 6'4", big, wide, catch radius, long catch radius. The only knock, and we'll see, is there was some question, including like Steve Smith, like wondering how hard he would work to get off physical press coverages, which he's going to see a lot of. And he saw a lot of it in preseason camp with the Panthers. And, the idea of how important is football to him. So far, I think he's passed those early season tests, but, we're in August. So that's something to keep an eye on. But he physically, from a skill set standpoint, he absolutely has all the tools.
Last couple minutes, Joe. One thing for you. Another thing I read that I thought was quite interesting, because the Panthers have had penalty issues. And in practice, there was a pre-snap penalty. Chuba Hubbard and Bryce Young were like, Coach, we want to go run some gassers, which is painful to think about. But the thing that Bryce Young was part of that, watching his growth, let's just focus on the leadership thing. Is it starting to get where it needs to be, or is it already there, Joe?
Yeah, he's taken a big step forward. I mean, I think the first year, even at that position, like Cam Newton, as big as a personality as Cam Newton had then and continues to have today, he would sort of cede to Steve Smith that rookie year. And to the point where after a couple years, Dave Gettleman felt like they had to move on from Steve Smith in part so Cam Newton could be the unquestioned leader on that offensive side of the football. And they haven't had to move anybody like that for Bryce Young, but this is a guy who his second year, so his first year, okay, I mean, you got Frank Reich's getting fired, nobody's shown any leadership that year. And then last year, Bryce was benched. It's hard to be a leader when you've just gotten benched. So I have seen a big change in that regard from him this year. Like he is, the coaches will tell you he is like up at the dry, the dry erase board, helping guys walking through plays and schemes, and you hear it on the practice field. And so, he is never going to be a guy that is like as loud and as flamboyant as Cam Newton, but he leads in his own way, and it's not necessarily quiet. It's just his own style, and I think the Panthers are thrilled to see Bryce Young take that step.
Last thing real quick, I got less than a minute. Can 9-8 win the NFC South this year, whichever of the four?
Yeah, I think when I was doing my little NFC South preview, I had Tampa Bay winning 9 games and as the division winner. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Carolina, I think it's a toss-up. I have a hard time picking the Panthers only because of that defense. And I know Sam Morgan made some, but it is hard to improve as bad as they were last year. I have a hard time thinking they can fix that all in one offseason. I think the offense is going to be fun, but I don't know about the defense.
Yeah. Always great to talk with you, man. Enjoy the ball game tonight. We'll holler at you during the season. Appreciate you as always.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. See y'all.
That's our buddy Joe Person, Joseph Person, to follow along on Twitter, and he does fantastic work covering the team at The Athletic. All right, more on this SEC and college football playoff story coming up. I love telling you about integrated media every day, pretty much, what they've done for us here at the station, what they've done for my family, what they've done for our buddy Chris Clark, and what they've done for so many of you. Our good friend Grayson Griner, the former Carolina and Detroit Tiger. And then lots of your friends and neighbors. Love them. And if you're like, is it time for me to get something home theater-wise? The answer is yeah. Here's the better news. They make house calls, 803-948-8327. They'll come to you. You heard me right. They'll come to you. You can always go to a big box store and get some TVs and speakers and try to hang them up yourself. What about the experts? All the stuff that you buy, same prices. What you're paying for extra is the ability to have experts come in and do it right the first time. Building, remodeling, just want something new and different. Indoors, outdoors, one room, whole house. Get ready for football and so much more. 803-948-8327. The best in home theater is integrated media.
Test. Our first check on the roads this afternoon. Bluff Road, Assembly Street at Longwood Road, there's an accident. Also Highway 262 at Fairmont Road. Old Cherokee Road between Pilgrim Church Road and Old Chapin Road, an accident there. And St. Peter's Road at US 378. First look at the roads. Accidents, we got a few. Starting off the afternoon, Bluff Road, Assembly Street at Longwood Road. Highway 262 near Fairmont Road. Old Cherokee Road between Pilgrim Church Road and Old Chapin Road in Lexington. And St. Peter's Road at US 378. We have our construction. I-126 between Hugie and I-26. Also I-26 Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road between those two exits. I-20 between I-26 exit 64 and 65 Broad River Road. Get back in here. More on the SEC's possible schedule expansion on the postgame show. Jay and Terry on the game.
All right, welcome back in. 25 minutes in front of 5 o'clock here on this Thursday afternoon. Thanks, as always, to Joe Person. He's great. And, yeah, Irmo tonight versus Vegas, 7 o'clock. Winner moves on to the U.S. championship game. And that's even though they're coming through the losers bracket, as I understand it, what Connecticut earned in the winners bracket is they just get an extra day off. But
they got like a bye.
But Irmo, if they win tonight, they'll only need to win that one to advance to the championship.
From what I read today, because I know you're shocked by this. I don't know my Little League World Series bracket rules. Basically, it's a double elimination tournament until you get to the championship games.
Right.
Then it's winner take all.
Right. So again, what the winners bracket winner, which is I think they call it Metro. That's the Metro New York area. I think a team from Connecticut. They get a day off.
Yeah, I think those kids are all 20.
No,
21.
they're not. They're just like 17. They're not 20. No, we're not doing that. No.
I will say this: it'll be interesting tonight because the team they're playing, Vegas, is a squad that beat them 1-0.
Yeah.
When the young fellow from Irmo had the no-hitter going, he had to take him out because of pitch count.
Can he pitch again yet?
I don't know how his pitch count numbers
I don't know how that works. And he just pitched. That was just like 3 days ago, man. So I don't think he could pitch again anyway. That's asking a lot of a 12-year-old arm. That's asking a lot of a 30-year-old arm.
Hey, ready? There's a lot of other professions you can go into later in life.
Well, no.
Come on, kid, let's win. No, I'll be honest with you. I can't remember from when we were young and played Little League. We had those rules too. About
they were supposed to be strict.
With you, I can't remember them from back then.
They were supposed to be strict.
Was it 60 pitches within whatever? I can't remember, man.
I think ours was more by inning.
Ours was.
I don't think ours was. Ours was not. And this goes all the way to high school. Ours was innings. You could only pitch a certain number of innings.
When my high school, our rules in the state of Maryland was innings. If I'm remembering.
That's what ours was too.
And Little League, I'm trying to remember if it was innings or pitches. I can't.
I think ours was innings, but I don't know.
I can't.
I didn't pitch in Little League. I didn't pitch till I got to high school, so I don't know.
Well, I told you I'm left-handed, so every time I change classifications, a lefty, put him on the mound. 10 pitches later, after I broke 3 car windshields and hit a parent, you want to go back and play center field, son?
Yeah.
Go ahead, get back out in center field.
Start bench drop today. Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer. This after Urban didn't say, and I was joking, didn't say Jim Harbaugh should be suspended the way Jim Tressel was if you had a carryover effect from college to the NFL. Jim Tressel, of course, didn't coach. He was an analyst. And Jim Harbaugh has no suspension hanging over his head. But that's what prompted me to do this one today. But these guys, all 3 of them, have something in common. They all won national championships. They were all in the NFL. Pete Carroll is certainly the most successful NFL coach of the 3. Urban was not a successful NFL coach. And Jim Harbaugh has been a very good NFL coach.
Urban, again, if you look at these resumes, obviously that short time in the NFL was a punchline. I just pulled up his college record, man.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
He won 85% of his games.
It's phenomenal.
187 and 32. Dig this. Besides his last year of Florida in 2010, which caused health issues.
Yeah. Sure.
Urban Meyer.
Industry term.
Since 2006, from 2006 to 2018, Urban Meyer didn't lose more than 2 games in a season, man.
Well, and the year he left for Florida, he went undefeated at Utah.
Remember, they won a basically New Year's Day bowl game, remember? That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because they were a true group of 5 school, Utah then. I mean, his record is just, if you go back to 2003 at Utah, he only had 3 seasons where he lost more than 2 games, and he's never had a season that he has won less than 5 in college. His college coaching career is unbelievable. Remember, got Utah to a big bowl game, won 2 national championships of Florida and a national championship at Ohio State.
Yeah. And,
as a college coach.
And had a Heisman winner.
To your point of how you want to value it.
Yeah, again, that's why I say
if you want to value collegiate coaching record.
Yeah. But a lot of you have dropped Urban so far today, which is it's interesting. Again, I haven't done mine yet. I really don't know where I'm going with it.
It's tough.
I think I know who I'm starting, but I'm not really sure about bench and drop. So anyway, alphabetical order: Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer. Start, bench, drop. We'll have more of that throughout the afternoon. If you haven't heard it yet, we opened the hour with this. Seth Emerson of The Athletic reporting that after an athletics directors meeting in Birmingham this week, an SEC athletics directors meeting, the conference is closer than ever to approving a 9-game conference football schedule. Now, presidents would be the final arbiters of this, and he does not say when it will go to a presidential vote, but you would expect that to be sooner rather than later. And that was some of the indication we got from Greg Sankey during media days that while they have a few months, they'd like to make this announcement before maybe the college football playoff announcement. And that takes me to our second story that we're kind of blending here together, and that is that the college football playoff yesterday, the selection committee announced that it will begin to use what they call enhanced metrics. Heather Dinich reporting this. Let me just, I'll give you what they're going to basically do. She says it still remains a subjective system, and none of the major components, strength of schedule, common opponents, head-to-head, are weighted. However, what she says is they'll basically begin to look at your strength of schedule, and if you're playing a more difficult schedule, not penalize you as much for losing some of those games. Here's what she writes, quote, in the current schedule strength metric, more weight will be applied to games against strong opponents. A new added metric of record strength will help the committee determine how teams performed against their schedule, rewarding those that beat high-quality opponents while minimizing the penalty of losing to one. These changes will also provide minimal reward for beating a lower-quality opponent while imposing a greater penalty for losing to one. Now, we don't yet know what that might look like. Now, let me be, because Indiana has become the punching bag and the poster boy for a lot of this. So last year, Indiana went 11-1 going into the playoff. For a minute, Terry, I just want to pretend that the exact same Illinois team went 10-2, and then compare them to a 9-3 Alabama, South Carolina, or Mississippi. They don't get in.
No,
they don't get in. Now, does that 9-3 Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi get in over the 11-1 Indiana? Unlikely. So I'm not really sure yet just how fine these margins are going to be. It's going to take a year of selection.
Yes, we got
for us to figure that out.
Because look, at the end of the day, you should be rewarded for a win over. Let's just go back top 25 teams. Let's just make it easy right now.
I don't think SMU gets in, by the way.
They might not. Look, SMU and Indiana didn't really beat anyone.
But they don't want SMU out because they lost it. But remember, who did Arizona State beat? Kansas State. Who
they beat BYU and Kansas State.
No, but in the championship game.
I think it was Kansas State.
Whoever they beat in the championship game didn't make it into the playoff.
No, and BYU, remember BYU
but SMU
was
did.
10-2 or whatever.
But SMU was undefeated in the conference.
Exactly. They lost. You don't want to penalize somebody for losing the conference championship game if you're undefeated. I get that to a point. But here's the thing. All right, let's say.
Or they could have just beaten Clemson and solved the whole thing.
It would have been okay, right? Right? We didn't see that coming would happen.
No, I always thought Clemson was going to win.
So anyway, I think there should be a value for beating a top 25 team over beating a non-top 25 team, just like you should get less penalized for losing to a top 25 team comparing to losing to a cupcake.
I get your point, so I'm not pushing back on you when you say top 25. This is why I want some type of net ranking and quad system. But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I'm just using top 25.
And I want them to come up with a quad system.
Yeah, that's what I want. Look, we sat here, you and I went over this, a month ago. This is not hard to come up with a fair type of system that uses some kind of computer metrics because it's done in college basketball, it's done in baseball, it's done in other sports collegiately. And if you want to throw the rankings in too for something just to give humans a bone in this thing, I don't care. But this committee thing's all ridiculous.
I will push back on you. I don't want that.
I'm negotiating, dude. I'm trying to negotiate.
A few more start bench drops. Again, Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, and a little J or nay coming up.
This, sir, is epic from Faith No More.
Okay. Yeah, I remember this. I remember this. I got to tell you, it's not really. And I listen. You would be amazed at how much Run DMC I can do and how much Beastie Boys I can do.
You
So
told
this
me
is
some of your Run DMC
I
stories.
can listen. I have, man. My buddy Scott Jernigan and I.
Now, didn't
at the Run DMC
didn't
show.
White Lion open for Run DMC?
No, you know who did? LL Cool J, and it was spectacular.
How, like the kids would say, banging was that?
Man, that concert at Carolina Coliseum, it was Houdini. Actually, it was the Beasties before License to Ill, and they got basically, God bless them, they got booed off. And they, of course, became amazing.
Right.
But they were not quite there yet. But then it was Houdini and LL Cool J and Run DMC. It was the, what was the name of that? What was the album tour now? I'll think of it in a second. That's gonna bug me. But King of Rock. It was the King of Rock tour.
Oh.
The King of Rock tour. So it was their second big album.
I will always say one of the greatest MTV unplugs was LL Cool J.
But LL, I can still see him coming out. What's my DJ's name? Cut Creator. And the place was going, it was so good.
People, because you see him now on TV
so
and that really bad cop show or whatever it is. LL Cool J was the man for a while.
For about 5 or 6 years, he was
something else, man. I am with you on the LL Cool J train, my friend. I like Run DMC too.
Run DMC.
I do too.
Man, I was listening to Rockbox the other night. I can still do the whole thing. I won't do it right now, but I can still rap every single word of Rockbox.
So you're telling me that you're just not a Faith No More guy after that?
Yeah, that's just not. I don't know. It's like that's one of those songs that I think they're trying too hard. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good song.
I get where you're going.
But I'm like, I don't know. All right, start bench drop. Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer. We got a lot of y'all hitting this. Thank you. Stacy, start Pete, bench Jim, drop Urban, go Blue. Okay.
There you
go. Franklin, start Pete, bench Jim, drop Herbs, he says. Y'all don't like Urban Meyer. This is like, this is like oatmeal cookies. Here's a different one, though. David, I like this. Thank you, David. This is good. David says, start Pete, bench Urban, cut Jim. This is like asking me to pick my least favorite vegetables in order of the ones I'll eat. That's good. That's good.
So good.
Our buddy Lou Bajak. I'm surprised. Hey, Lou, you going to the Steelers game tonight, bud? I bet you are. Lou, start Pete Carroll, bench Jim Harbaugh, cut Urban Meyer. And then Randy says, start Jim, say what you want about him, about his methods, he says, but he wins. He does. Bench Pete, and much like the Jacksonville Jaguars did, he says, drop Urban. So there you go.
Very nice.
We got a lot more that we'll get to throughout the course of the next hour, but it's game show music.
Stall
time.
for a second. Stall for a second.
Okay.
Stall for a second.
I just want to play game. I should do game show music. You want me to rap Rockbox?
Yeah. Would you?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Not on air.
That for me.
But if you you know what? If you get me a couple of beers,
I bet you after a few beers in you might be.
Dude, I can. I'm just y'all might not believe it. Again, a lot of you, and I understand that I own being a jam band guy, but I am not exclusively a jam band guy. If you see my playlist, you would realize, how diverse it is. I got all kinds of stuff. So believe me, I know what's up. All right, is it time?
Almost. They're doing a commercial on YouTube.
We need to. Somebody needs to. I'm going to bring you my TV themes CD. It's got these things on it.
Yeah, because I keep going to YouTube. All right, here we go.
All right.
Jay or nay?
Yep.
Will this team make the college football playoffs, sir? We're going to make these are hard ones, not the easy ones.
Okay.
Boise State.
Nay.
Nay.
Again, if you're asking me the field, Denver the field, nay.
LSU, sir. Jay or nay?
Jay.
Miami of Florida.
Nay.
Michigan.
Nay.
Kansas State.
Ooh. Nay.
The team that spent the most money in college football, Texas Tech.
Nay. Again, I think Utah's going to win that conference.
I was going to give you Utah.
J.
I
I think Utah's going to win that conference.
Alabama.
Texas Tech, Alabama, J.
Oregon.
J.
I'll give you a couple easy ones. I'm going to throw Notre Dame.
Ooh, see, this year, yeah, I don't know, man. That quarterbacking situation. I'm going to say nay on Notre Dame.
I'm with you.
I'm going to say nay, just barely.
I'm with you on that.
Just barely.
I'm with you, sir. Nice job.
I'll do what I can. Man, I was worried you were going to ask me like 20 schools, and I was going to say 14 J's. All right, wait a minute. All right, headlines of the day. More on the big announcement that is expected tomorrow. But, yes, we have details today and more on what the Little Leaguers did as well. You're listening to the Postgame Show. AAA Heating and Air is ready to help you out by extending an offer through the end of the year to make sure that your family stays nice and comfortable no matter the season for many, many years to come. Roy and Dana Finley now are giving you no payments or interest for a full year. If you buy a brand new system now, they can guarantee to get you financed. You'll get a $1,500 system buyback rebate and the 15-year parts and labor guarantee that means you know what they install not only keeps you nice and comfortable now, but for many, many years to come. I love what AAA has done at my house, whether it's been a quick repair here or there. The brand new system that we put in earlier this year in our upstairs where my kids sleep, they're very happy with it. Trust me on that one, too. You're like, Dad, it's terrible. 2 days later, Dad, it's awesome. And that's what I want to hear, right? And that's what Roy and Dana want to hear, too. For you, for anybody else. Do what so many of your friends and neighbors have done. Call 803-677-1500. Quick repair or a brand new system. Tell them we sent you to AAA Heating and Air. You'll love them.
Hop in, get you another look at the roads. There's some accidents around the Midlands as we get the ride home going today. Bluff Road, Assembly Road at Longwood Road. Highway 262 near Fairmont Drive. In Lexington, Old Cherokee Road between Pilgrim Church Road and Old Chapin Road. St. Peter's Road at US 378, US 176 Broad River Road near Beatty Road. And we have our construction spots like usual. I-126 between Hugie and I-26. I-26 between Bush River Road, that's exit 108A, and Old Sandy Run Road, exit 125.
It is 5 o'clock news time here on this Thursday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the postgame show. Along with Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. We start with news that has reverberated all through Gamecock Nation since this morning, and that is that tomorrow the University of South Carolina's Board of Trustees has a agenda item that reads Athletics Department, apparel agreement. And it is expected that that vote will be to approve a new long-term deal with Nike. Our good friend David Cloninger, the first to report this morning with the Charleston Post and Courier. I know several other outlets have been confirming this as well. Yours truly has had conversations to do the exact same thing. The university itself, of course, cannot announce this officially until the Board of Trustees approves this, but it would end a long-time relationship with Under Armour that goes back really to the first couple of years of the Steve Spurrier era, and then the entire athletics department joined Under Armour a few years after that. It was re-upped while Ray Tanner was the athletics director, and this 10-year deal ends next year. So this coming school year that's, again, technically already started, and so has the athletic year, we'll still see Carolina wearing Under Armour in all of their sports. But starting with the 26-27 school year, Carolina is expected, unless there's some major change overnight, it is expected that South Carolina will become a Nike school. And Terry, we talked about it earlier. Look, the relationship with Under Armour has been fine. It's not what it once was. I don't think these two entities, Carolina and Under Armour, have animosity toward one another or anything like that. But I know fans, we hear from you guys here at the station. We can see what's on Twitter, and we've talked to others around the school. I personally, through the years, have talked to several people in various roles in athletics that have expressed, some different feelings about exactly what's going on with Under Armour. And I get it. And I think sometimes, like a lot of relationships, maybe it's just time for a change. But Under Armour is not what it once was. And listen, what you wear, whether it, you can't sit there and say that's an exclusive reason as to why you are or aren't something. But I don't discount that it can help. And, one of the things that we've heard about, and I'll be curious as this moves forward, is we've especially heard about this in basketball.
Yeah.
Again, to what degree, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. It's not hurting Dawn.
I think it's doing okay there. I don't think that whole Under Armour thing's bothering the basketball team.
Dawn just goes out and recruits, right? And then you get like Malaysia Fulwiley, who I know is now at LSU, but she got her own Under Armour shoe.
Right.
So look, that's picking and choosing a little bit. But that being said, I think this is a huge, we may or may not know the financial terms, but regardless, I think this is a huge step forward for Carolina athletics.
So far, it's early in the tenure of Jeremiah Donati, but we've seen the Nike thing get taken care of. By the way, didn't hear a word about it.
Yeah.
No leakage.
Can I pause you?
No leakage.
I really, really, and this isn't me, I'm serious with this. I applaud them. Now, I think a couple of people probably have known a little bit, but I'm telling you, I made the analogy earlier to you off air that some people were going around in our business digging. I said I was digging because I try not to bother people too much with it, y'all. But I said from an analogy perspective, I was digging with like my kids' beach shovel, the little plastic thing, right? But I know people in our business that were digging with a backhoe.
Right.
Okay. And as late as yesterday, I know someone that had been told nothing is imminent.
How about that?
And then today we get this. So that is a strong signal towards the team that Jeremiah has in keeping those cards not just close to the vest, man, but maybe super glued to their vest.
And really, that's a leadership thing. B, a guy putting people in place with the understanding of shish.
Yeah.
We don't want to leak stuff unless we want to leak it for strategic purposes.
Well, yeah,
right?
when you want to, you can.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to how, look, you can agree or disagree, but the way Donati handled the Palmineri situation.
Right.
I mean, John Whittle came out with that post about what went on through the season, didn't hear anything until Donati finally had to speak. And what did he say? He was clear, concise.
Yep.
Here it is. Here's what we're doing. Move forward.
Yep.
But there was no leaking of anything that the university thinks, athletic department thinks, anybody thinks. And then he talked.
Yep.
So, again, you can agree or disagree with that situation. But, again, from a perspective you and I are talking about, they're handling business.
Yeah,
he's our buddy Eli Drinkwitz would say, they stand on business.
Stand on business. But between again those kinds of situations, this big deal with Blanchard Machinery, again significant of its kind in the history of Carolina athletics, and now moving to Nike. These are signs of big time progress.
I'll say something that just kind of hit me. Typically, the best organizations in sports pro college are locked up tight.
Yeah.
I mean, think of some of the bad organizations. You hear a lot of leakage, right?
A lot of times when you hear bad things, as well, it's because it's bad and people want the bad to get out there so that they can try to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, you hear constant leakage. Like an example, I mean, you go to Dallas Cowboys, that thing's leaking like the Titanic all the time. It's from the owner, by the way.
Or Daniel Snyder in Washington.
Right.
And things
So
like that.
I think it's very impressive what we've seen so far in the short time with
But again, tomorrow morning, the board is meeting at 9 o'clock. And that particular meeting has I think they have a couple of sessions, but a particular session has just one agenda item that reads Athletics Department, apparel agreement. So by 9:30, 9:45, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they'll have a release ready to go. It may already be ready to just hit send.
If that release might have been, how long ago that might have been done?
Maybe yesterday or today.
Yeah,
maybe
sitting around for a couple days.
But we'll keep you updated, and we'll certainly have more. And we, industry term, efforting a guest from athletics to join us on tomorrow's program to discuss more of this.
How hard are you efforting? What kind of efforting do we have in effort?
Moderate. Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday.
I respect a man who can look good and go, moderate.
I'll do what I can.
Not pulling any muscles here. But
if it was a Wednesday, I might try harder. Tomorrow's Friday. Plus, I got to go do that golf thing. I'll be busy.
You know what? You got stuff to do tomorrow. You got announcements to do tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. We'll see. Speaking of announcement, this isn't really an announcement, but if you would, sir, cut 33 on today's list. Last night in Pennsylvania, this happened.
That one is to right, and it is past the right fielder, diving Layfeld. One is in. Here comes the winning run. Andrew Bogan does it. South Carolina shocks South Dakota, and they win it 7-6.
This game last night went to extras at 1-1.
By the way, really quick, South Carolina, I believe, was down to their last strike when they tied the game.
They were. They tied the game at 1, sent it to extra innings, which, again, in Little League means you go from the 6th to the 7th. That South Dakota team then scored 5 times on some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then the Irmo kids, man, I think they'd made it, 6-5 before they even had an out, or maybe 6-4 before they got an out.
Yeah, and then there was one out.
One out.
6-5. Right.
And then they got 6-5 and then pushed those two across.
And
By
the way, if you saw SportsCenter, maybe you watched it. So after South Dakota scores all those runs, the Irmo coach huddles the kids around and says, guys, this ain't over. It's almost like, Bill Murray in Stripes.
Right.
This ain't over yet. We can hit this kid. Right. We can go get this thing done, or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. So that will now be the speech Kurt Russell gives when he plays the Little League coach in a Disney movie, right?
This is your team. This is your time.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Really cool
that's I mean, seriously, that was
it's good stuff, man. It really
that's
was.
sports. That's the drama of sports. So tonight at 7, Irmo takes on Las Vegas. Man, imagine that dichotomy for a minute. But Irmo takes on Vegas. Winner will advance to the U.S. championship game. And once whoever wins this game, they're in the losers bracket. But that part of it ends. The team from Connecticut will be the next team that one of these two will see. I think they call them Metro. It's Metro New York City, but they're from Connecticut. And all you got to do is win that game. So whoever wins that game on Saturday will play for the Little League World Series championship against the international bracket winner. So Irmo and Vegas tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. So there you go. Good stuff. And by the way, yesterday on Jay versus the Internet, Terry, one of the questions was Braves, White Sox over under combined runs 7.5. And based on the fact that they had scored like 40 combined runs in the first 2 games of the series, I chose the over.
Matter of fact, you looked at me like I was crazy.
I did, and the Atlanta Braves won the game 1-0. So that's just that's how Jay versus the Internet seems to work. Real quick, we had a question earlier too, and our buddy Rocky. Do we need to pay Rocky? Is he like our correspondent now? Are we going to give him a little something?
Rocky said,
we had some questions about
compensation,
about the pitching limits in Little League Baseball. So Rocky, doing some good work for us off air, now on air to tell us, hey man, what you got?
Hey Jay, Terry, thank you. Well, I don't think I'm just going from experience. What prompted me to call you, Jay, is you were totally correct. And back in the day, now I'm going back to my days as a youth, starting at Trenton Park, and all the way up. And I did pitch in high school and in college, but I remember it was innings. Now they're doing, if you do you pitch a certain amount of pitches, you got 1 day's rest, 2 days rest, 3 days rest, as it incrementally goes up. Now, this is way new to me back in the day. I mean, Jay, my senior year in high school, we played Camden High School. I pitched 11 innings and threw 136 pitches.
Yeah, that's not allowed anymore.
That's right.
All right, and thank gosh we won the game 7-6 over Camden High School. But I mean, it was it. Now you had innings limits in high school, but you could. I mean, if you can pitch as much as you want in the game itself, but if you go over, which I believe was 10 innings. Because we play 7 innings, you play in high school, you go over that, well, I'm toast for the rest of the week.
Right.
Okay, until my next start.
Right.
So that, but it's very interesting in this incremental number of pitches they throw. Okay, if you throw 40 pitches, you got to wait this amount. If you throw 60 pitches, you got to wait these many days, and I'm just really excited. South Carolina versus Vegas, man.
I mean, it's a big opportunity, and somebody was asking us earlier. And Rocky, thank you as always. Good stuff, man. And I'm glad your arm feels better.
It took all these years for his arm to bounce back.
I don't know how deep a South Carolina Little League team has ever gone, or if this is the deepest that a South Carolina Little League team has ever gone. at a Little League World Series. I think they've been a couple times, but
someone said to me,
but
they
it's
had
so hard to get
really
there.
good team in the early '70s or something. I heard, but
it's
it
just
is tough, man.
It's so hard to get there. I mean, think of all.
Were you on a team that was ever close? I wasn't. We were never close. Never. No. We even cheated and still couldn't get there.
No. I mean, I don't even know when I was around. If a team from because I think they're made up it's like all stars. And I don't know. Maybe there was a couple of good ones, but I can't really recall that. But no, not my guys, I assure you. All right, we'll come back on the other side. Gamecock Notebook, more from the Carolina coordinators. You're listening to the postgame show.
We all the time talk to you about the Men's Clinic of South Carolina here on this show and on the station. Because, look, you're a guy and, as you get older, things start to, let's be honest, suck. You don't sleep like you used to. You get weaker. You don't bounce back well from exercise. You forget things. Your lack of drive compared to what you were when you were younger, whether it's professional, sexual, personal, whatever, nothing's the same. And you sit around and you feel bad about it and you're scared to talk about it and you say, oh, man, I'm a sissy man. But there could be solutions called low testosterone. It could be, and the Men's Clinic of South Carolina can help you. 803-875-MENS. Go in, make that call, sit down, do the consultation. It could be low T, and the Men's Clinic of South Carolina can help you get to feeling like you again.
All right, 19 minutes after 5 o'clock on this Thursday. Sorry, I'm trying to read a couple of things here at once. This is typically where we do Gamecock Notebook. But we have major breaking news. It has just been confirmed by the Southeastern Conference that beginning in 2026, the conference football schedule will go to 9 games. This has now been voted on and approved by the 16 presidents and or chancellors of the Southeastern Conference. So this is happening, kids. The conference sent out a graphic that says the SEC, beginning in 2026, will continue with a 9-game conference schedule, a single standings non-divisional structure, which is what we have now. Each school will play 3 annual opponents focused on maintaining many traditional rivalries. Each team's remaining 6 games will rotate among the remaining conference schools, and each team will face every other SEC program at least once every 2 years, and every opponent, home and away, every 4 years. So, again, this is happening. This is no longer a discussion point, a talking point, a topic for debate on programs like this one. This is official, and this was made official. Let's see. When did they send this, Terry? The SEC sent this out right at 5 o'clock.
I was going to say, right when we, as soon as you finished the news,
yeah,
you
that's when I got the alert, right when I was finishing.
And we were giddy with excitement around
This is
here.
fantastic. And now let me get to a couple of other things here. Let's see. Stuart Mandel also reporting the SEC is still requiring each team to play 1 Power 4 non-conference game. So everyone in the SEC will be playing at least 10. Now, for South Carolina, that certainly means Clemson stays on the schedule. I've made no secret of the fact that I hope that the games that Carolina has scheduled, I won't even count Virginia Tech because that's going to get played here in 10 days or so. But beginning in 26 and for 6 consecutive seasons, Carolina has home and away with Miami, NC State, and North Carolina. I personally hope those games remain. I know there are other schools in the Southeastern Conference that have some big-time games scheduled as well. Again, I hope they remain. I don't have a look right now at everybody's future non-con schedule over the next 6 or 8 years, but I'm just here for more quality games. And when you couple in the news from last night that the College Football Playoff Committee is going to be using, their words were, enhanced metrics to better measure what schools are doing in terms of playoff selection. What I mean by doing, strength of schedule, strength of record, things like that. And again, Elijah tried to explain strength of record, and it's like wins above replacement, but then he made my head hurt, and I stopped. I understand the concept. I just I don't care how you arrived at it. As long as somebody else that does know the math
someone else
believes in it.
Someone else.
Well, I don't want them to do it, but as long as somebody else can affirm that, yep, that's exactly what it means. I'll be like, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
strength
like,
of record
like quarterback rating. I'm like, where are these weird numbers, man?
Look, Will Hunting doesn't understand quarterback rating.
So anyway, this is fantastic news, and I'm glad we're here. Look, I've said before, I joke a little bit here. We proved to ourselves that this conference could play 10 conference games during the COVID year. I'd be here for that at some point, but we'll take the baby steps that are necessary. So now that leaves the Atlantic Coast Conference as the only one of the 4 power conferences to not play 9 games.
They'll move up.
And I think Jim Phillips had even hinted that if the SEC does it, we'll probably do it too. So expect some news from the ACC soon. I don't know. I would think that they've got some plans in place, and maybe they were just waiting to see which way the wind blows before making any further announcement. So I would not sweat it, Carolina and Clemson fans. for that. I mean, again, I wouldn't sweat that game anyway. But Carolina fans, or again, look, Clemson's got a home and homecoming with LSU. This year they're going to play. Does LSU want to play Clemson starting next year? I certainly hope so, especially because you're going to get it back at your place.
Exactly.
But, again, when Georgia plays Clemson, that needs to continue from time to time. If Tennessee wants to play, I don't know, UCLA or Notre Dame or something like they used to, whatever it is, Alabama, Wisconsin, Texas, Ohio State, Michigan's playing Oklahoma. I want these games to continue.
Well, now, I'm going to say this. I'm excited about this. You're excited about this. Firehouse Sub text line, though. I hate this. It sucks. At M Stoops KY.
Let's see.
I don't know what that means.
Well, see, here's the thing. If like that, now they can't cancel their Louisville game. Thank God.
Right. Because it can be part of the 10.
Because this was what was voted upon.
Right.
Now, they may go schedule, Lexington High, and, actually they'll schedule their Lexington High and our Lexington High. And then in subsequent years, they'll handle like Lexington, Virginia.
Of course. They
Lexington,
will go on
North Carolina. There's
tour.
a Lexington, Massachusetts.
I think there's a Lexington College. It's Division 9.
There's a lot of Lexingtons up and down the old colonial,
Lexington
way.
School for Boys. I mean, trust me, they can pad up that schedule at Lexington.
So, but beyond that, they'll have to at least play 9 conference games in Louisville every year. No, I think this is great.
This is great.
And I understand. Listen, believe me. Because I've heard from so many of you through the years, Jay, can Carolina handle this? Or Jay, I don't know if listen, we got to at least get to a certain number of wins, and I don't discount any of that. But much like we've seen in terms of NIL and some of the other things, listen, the reason that you've got so much money pouring into conferences is because massive media entities are putting massive amounts of money in it. They want a return on investment that doesn't include FCS games, doesn't include a bunch of cupcake games. They're not in it for that. And again, if the metrics can be tweaked accordingly, whether we like it or not, y'all, here's the thing. Either you want some of this or a lot of this, and you can get used to a 3, maybe one day 4-loss college football champion. And I know for some of you that's like, ick.
Right.
I get it.
There are people that do.
I get it. Or we stay with cupcakes and Disney and Fox and CBS go, hey, when we re-up, if y'all keep doing that, I tell you what, we're not asking you if you'll take less money. We're just offering you less money.
Because here's the reality. We have this conversation, you and I, over the years. You're looking for the casual fan. You pump up your TV ratings and your attendance with casuals. Casuals don't want to watch you beat Akron by 70.
Nope.
They don't want to show up at the stadium for it. They don't want to watch it on TV. There are people, because that ticket can be cheaper, that get a chance to go to a game that they can't afford typically to go. And I understand that. But for the most part,
spring game, man. I'm serious. Yeah, spring game.
It's free. For the most part, casuals have no desire to watch those games. They'll skip them. You know what they'll do? They'll go watch the highlights on YouTube or something later in the night.
And you're right. And when you think of the numbers, like we've talked about, Terry, there are several NFL regular season games that draw a larger audience than the CFP title game or other select huge games. You need to get some of that football fan that's otherwise, wants to watch Bears Packers and doesn't give two you-know-whats about college football to go, Alabama is playing Michigan, huh? I'll tune into that.
Or you're doing this one, and you make a great point there. Also, the other point is the guy sitting in his nice recliner who's using his remote to flip around goes, oh, Michigan and who?
Yeah.
I'll stop and give this a chance, and if it's entertaining and compelling enough, they'll stay.
Yeah. Texas, Ohio State.
But guess, you know what they're not doing? Wow. Texas and Akron?
Right. No.
Can't wait.
No.
Not happening.
Yeah. So, drive around the SEC on the other side. A little bit more on this. I'll try to get some more reaction to what's happening in terms of some of the folks on Twitter and some of the reporters that are doing this. And we'll get into a little bit more on our start bench drop, too. But again, breaking news, the SEC, beginning in one football season next year, is going to 9 conference games. Drive around the SEC, absolutely, is next.
All right, so I'm hanging here right now looking at the CHW Cabinetry website. It's phenomenal. If you're thinking about putting cabinets in your home, almost anywhere, you got to catch up with the folks at CHW Cabinetry. Kitchens, maybe areas that you do storage. There is a shoe closet with cabinets everywhere. I mean, you name the spot in your home you want to put cabinets on, CHW Cabinetry can handle it for you. And they go right from the beginning. They sit down with you, talk about what you're looking for, and then they do, it's fantastic. They do photo renderings, photorealistic renderings. You will see what that space is going to look like from beginning to end. They walk with you the whole way. They do everything but make them in your living room. So call CHW Cabinetry, 803-520-6837. Again, 803-520-6837. Let Star and her crew take care of all the cabinets in your home. Time for another check on the roads. An accident in Richland, Hardscrabble Road at Summit Parkway. St. Andrews, US 176, Broad River Road near Beatty Road. Also construction all around the area. I-126 between Hugie and I-26. I-26 between Bush River Road, exit 108A, and Sandy Run Road, exit 125. I-20 between I-26, exit 64, and exit 65, Broad River Road. Checking out the roads in Richland, we have an accident, Hardscrabble Road at Summit Parkway. US 176 Broad River Road near Beatty Road. Lots of construction like usual. I-20 between I-26 and exit 64 and 65, Broad River Road. I-26 Bush River Road and Sandy Run Road, that's between exits 108A and 125. I-126 between Hugie and I-26, also construction. Atomic Road, northbound, southbound, closed because of road construction. Bridge blocked, Blink Bonnie Road between Belfield Road and Ridgetop Lane. Come back and drive around the SEC here on the Postgame Show.
It is Drive Around the SEC time. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you on this Thursday. Again, in our Drive Around, we have the breaking news of the hour, and we will continue. If you've just gotten in the car, out of the office, and heading home today, in fact, just a couple of hours ago, the Southeastern Conference presidents and chancellors voted to approve a 9th conference football game beginning in 2026. It will be a 3+6 format, 3 permanent opponents, 6 rotating opponents, and every school in the Southeastern Conference will play each other home and away within every 4-year window beginning next season. So you're guaranteed to see the entire conference in a 2-year period, and you're guaranteed to have played everywhere in a 4-year period. On top of that, the Southeastern Conference is still going to require its teams to play at least one Power 4 game. Our buddy Andy Staples tweeted, and Andy has some snark in him, and he said, translation, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Kentucky already have to do this. Now you guys do too.
That's pretty good.
And in all seriousness, I think the easy one, Terry, to bring back is Bedlam. I would hope Oklahoma State feels the same way. Beyond that, we'll just have to see. And again, listen, and I hear you, Carolina fans. I hear you right now. Jay, we have to play Clemson, and Kentucky gets to play Louisville. I get it. I get it. I can only do so much about that. But your alternative is to not play the Clemson game. And that ain't happening.
That's not an alternative, by the way.
Exactly.
It's not all right.
So, this is Judge Smales. You'll get nothing and like it. I mean, this is what you – so, and look, all I'm going to say, I'm not trying to – Shane's 2-2 against Clemson. You need to be hoping for that.
Both wins on the road.
Yeah, you just need to be hoping for that. Mm-hmm. You need to be hoping for that level of built-up competitiveness in the rivalry.
Since the first one, which was ugly, you've won 2 out of 3, and the other one you lost, despite the fact you did not give up an offensive touchdown.
Yeah. So
you have been competitive 3 straight years.
You're competing with Clemson.
Yes.
So that's what that's all you can ask. You'd love to have that 5-game streak, and Clemson loved their 7-game streak. But anyway, I think this is fantastic. Mm-hmm. Now, again, this couples with, as we've said, we're repeating ourselves a lot, but for those of you just tuning in, last night, the College Football Playoff Selection Committee announced, well, at least the College Football Playoff announced that the selection committee would begin this season using more enhanced metrics, especially looking at strength of schedule to determine who you played, how you played, to reward you for playing a tougher game and winning it, and to not ding you as hard for losing it, while subsequently not giving you as much credit for winning an easier game and penalizing you far more significantly if you lose one of those games. So there's that part of the equation. Now, Brett McMurphy of On3 he says here, the SEC joins the Big Ten and Big 12 as power leagues with 9 conference games. In 26, the ACC will be the only power conference playing 8 league games. However, the ACC has said it would consider a 9th game if the SEC ever added a 9th game.
And look, they all need 9.
Yeah.
Don't they?
He says the SEC's historic decision to play the same number of league games as the Big Ten could facilitate a possible compromise between the leagues on an expanded 16-team playoff in 2026. He does not cite who, but says a Big Ten athletic director told On3, quote, it certainly helps.
That's the other part of this. You go 9. You've talked about they're changing the metric of how they look at strength of record, strength of schedule, things of that nature. Maybe we'll get something built with quads, with net rankings, whatever the case, to make this thing make some more sense. The other thing is you want to get your TV money, that's coming. 3, I really believe the SEC is sitting in such a great spot. You go to 9, you're going to get your share in the college football playoff if it expands.
Yep.
If you go to 16, you're going to get your share. If you go 5-11 model, you get your share. You go to these other goofy models, you're going to get your share. So if right now you're thinking like this, Jay, I'm guessing 9 games isn't going to penalize us at all.
Right. And I don't think they make the move until they got as high a level of guarantee as they could. 803-404-6100 on the AAA phone lines, and Rick wants to weigh in on this. Hey, Rick, good afternoon.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Jay. Just got done with 7.5 hour treatment and been listening to y'all all day, sitting in the green chair, in the green recliner, and a lot to unfold. And I am going to do my best to be brief.
All right, buddy.
First off, I think you and I have been screaming for the last year to go Nines, first off.
Yeah.
And you don't make corrections unless you know you are wrong. So the committee made the correction because they knew they were wrong about especially the SEC. And I am really excited about 9 games because college football is all about being competitive, not taking weeks off. Stoops is probably having a stroke, but I love it. And I think it is going to include teams, especially with the expansion talk. 4 losses is not a death penalty. And I think that it is just going to enhance the level of competition. And on a side note, Jay, you know, I'm the ex-Cowboy fan, now Los Angeles Chargers.
That's right.
I have heard nothing with the Chargers, and the soap opera continues with the Cowboys. Like I said, even if they would make the NFC Championship, I hope every person on that team would get the flu and couldn't compete. But the thing is I am excited about NFL starting up, and all my brothers admitted, Jay, that I did say if Myles Garrett stays with the Browns, I would not cheer for. They would not be my team.
That's right.
So I am legally and contractually obligated not to pick the Browns, and I think the Los Angeles Chargers are going to be. I just love not hearing anything about the Chargers. I've got a helmet for the Chargers. I have got some rookie cards, quarterback, and O'Marion, the running back. You better take it if you play fantasy football, because that boy is a
I'm as a Bronco fan, I'm scared of the Chargers. I think they're going to be all right. Rick, I'm glad you're feeling good, buddy. Continued good luck with all your treatments. And yeah, that Rick told us a couple months back, and I think his mama had like 8 sons, man, or something like that. I forget exactly, but it was. I was like, man, she's a saint.
Yes.
Like that's something else. But no, thanks, Rick. I'm excited too. I think he nailed it. And like I say, I get it for some, not just Carolina fans. I mean, look, we're joking about Kentucky, but I've heard from plenty of you that are Carolina fans. Jay, this makes me nervous because what if we lose? Well, I mean, it's sports, but again, what you want is, to Rick's point, I think it's spot on, 100%. Rick, you nailed it. It's about the competitiveness. All right, let this further kindle the fire under Shane Beamer, who already is a relentless recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and if you couple the right things with it, look, is Carolina going to have the money Texas has? No. But if you can just get those kids and convince them, can you be competitive? Again, you're competitive with Clemson right now. You've proven it.
You are on a cusp of, and we went over that 4 or 5 star rating that we saw.
Yeah.
South Carolina's on the cusp of being in that 50%.
And next year they're going to jump into it,
and that puts you in the conversation
you're in
for national,
and that's all you can ask for, right?
Man.
You got to be in the conversation, and they're getting there. I mean, I get the trepidation. I sincerely do.
That goes from past history.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I grew up here, man. My first games were in 1974 at Williams-Brice Stadium. I get it, y'all, but this is good for college football. This is good for the Southeastern Conference. All right, that's our drive around the SEC, brought to you by Herndon. We'll wrap up Start, Bench, Drop, Little J versus the Internet when the postgame show returns. All right, 11 minutes in front of 6 o'clock here on a Thursday. I'm wishing my life away. Tomorrow's Friday. On tomorrow's show, guaranteed that we'll have Langston Moore in the 4 o'clock hour. As we said earlier, industry term, we're efforting a guest for further discussion on what we believe to be the new apparel announcement. South Carolina Board of Trustees meets tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and they will be approving a new apparel agreement. And yes, it is believed. If you've not been around anything all day, it is believed, first reported by our good friend David Cloninger. And again, I've had conversations. Many others have had conversations. It's going to be Nike.
The swoosh.
Nike. Mm-hmm. Today, we had a fun start bench drop. We'll get a few more of those for you. Let me see if I can get back to this real quick here, Terry.
I got some on the old text line, too.
All right, good. Hang on, let me get to a couple more that we don't have. Let's see. Robert says, start Pete, bench Harbaugh, cut Meyer. Billy says, start Pete, bench Jim, drop Urban. All right. And let's see. I think I've done all the other ones on mine because we went through a bunch of them earlier. So, yeah, I've done all the ones on mine. You got a couple on the text line.
Yes, I do. Let's
Pete, by the way, you're saying, like, what are you talking about, Jay? Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, they all have a little something in common with national championships and NFL experience. Mm-hmm. Again, one has more NFL experience than the other two, and on we go.
Here we go. Start Pete Carroll, bench Jim Harbaugh, cut Urban Meyer. Let's see here. Start Urban Meyer, bench Pete, drop Harbaugh. Harbaugh couldn't win big at Michigan until he started cheating. Start Jim Harbaugh, bench Pete Carroll, bye-bye Urban Meyer and the Suckeyes. Ooh, a little shot there.
Wow.
Nice. What are yours, bud? We got.
I'm going to start Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's a no-brainer, but, Pete had multiple, he recruited like nobody's business at Southern California, had multiple Heisman winners, won a national championship, moved on to the NFL, and went to a couple of Super Bowls. And, again, I can't remember who they beat in the one they won, but it doesn't
Denver
matter.
Broncos.
I don't think it was, Terry. I think you're wrong with it. And this one was tougher for me. I get that people don't like either one of the other two. I think everybody loves Pete. Pete's kind of like a rock star. He's got a thing, you know.
Pete?
Yeah, he's like he's like the oldest teenager in the world. But because of my love of college football, I'm going to bench Urban Meyer. I mean, Urban won 3 college football national championships, had a couple of undefeated seasons, had a Heisman winner. I get his NFL time was bleh. But he's maybe just clearly better suited. I like Jim Harbaugh a lot. This is hard because I'm a big Jim Harbaugh fan. Again, he might be a tool in a lot of people's minds, and that's fair. I get it, but the dude wins, and he's won every single place he's been, whether it's been a school or in the NFL, and I do. As a Bronco fan, I am nervous about what he's going to do with the Chargers.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because I think he's going to win with the Chargers. Yeah. And will he get to a Super Bowl? I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm with you. Pete Carroll, look, he lifted a Lombardi and he won a national championship.
And had, 3 Heisman winners?
Yeah, I mean, what Pete Carroll has done in both, it's so rare, and he's got to start. I'm with you. It's the no-brainer. I will bench Jim Harbaugh just for the fact that Harbaugh got to a Super Bowl in the NFL, won a national championship in college football. And then I'll drop Urban because of that disaster in Jacksonville. But I'm going to tell you what, man, the best college football winning percentage of the 3 is Urban, barely over Pete. But Jim has the better NFL winning percentage,
Absolutely.
even though Pete did win a Super Bowl.
Right.
So you can take this in so many different directions. For me, again, I go by Pete with a Super Bowl national championship. Jim played for a Super Bowl, won a national championship. I hold Urban's Jacksonville against him.
That's fair, and that's fair. And that one was tough for me. Like I say, I just took Urban's 3 national championships and a Heisman winner.
Great college
and
football
if he hadn't have stopped, who knows? And I can't really do it that way either. But that one's tougher. And again, I like Jim Harbaugh. I do. I don't like some of the Michigan stuff.
I know.
But
I'm with you.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
All right, what do we got here?
All righty. Jay versus the Internet. We got to do it quick. The New York Yankees have won 5 straight. Did they make it 6 in a row, Jay? They play the Red Sox in Boston, I believe.
No.
Okay, Red Sox win?
Yes.
By the way, no right now on the internet. Who strikes out more batters tonight in the Red Sox-Yankee game? Red Sox starter Lucas Giolito or Yankee starter Luis Gil?
Giolito.
Giolito?
Because the Yankees swing all the time, man. They hit a lot. They hit them a long way, too. But they strike out a lot.
All right, here we go. Do the Cardinals and Rays combine to go over under 2.5 home runs tonight?
Jeez.
By the way, combined, when we do this metric, it's 2 homers a game. We're going over under 2.5.
Under.
In a race with the 2 bat boys.
No.
Oh, anyway.
All right, that was this was a fun show. Thanks.
That was a show, man.
Yeah, thanks to our buddy Michael Sauls on the Gamecock beat, Joe Person talking Panthers. If you're heading up to Charlotte tonight to see the Steelers and the Panthers, have fun. Don't know who you're going to see play. I don't think you're going to see Aaron or Bryce, but you might see some others. Langston tomorrow, more on the Nike deal tomorrow, we think, and more on this big SEC news. For Terry, I'm Jay. Have a great remainder of your Thursday. See ya.